welcome back. Sonita, we spoke about how, briefly, about how IoT, the short term, what the language or the term that's being used right now will impact our current life, future, and also the future. Now, how is the conversation or the application of IoT in some parts of the world right now, and how it is in Indonesia at the moment?
Great question. So I think, because the Internet of Things is about connecting all kinds of devices, why don't we divide it into two types of like big buckets, right? There is the infrastructure side, the part that maybe end consumers like you and me don't really see on a daily basis, but it's creating a lot of efficiencies and benefits for consumers. And of course, like more of the consumer-facing side, like the wearables and all that, or the smart cars that people see. So I would say around the world right now, especially in the developed world, so let's say North America and Europe, and to a certain extent Japan, the first application of Internet of Things is in the energy sector. So it's called smart energy or smart grid. That's really putting sensors and information technology across the whole energy value chain, from the generation to transmission to distribution to the meter, which is at our homes and buildings, which is usage, and then even to beyond, the meter, which includes connected smart energy devices like solar panels on our rooftops, electric vehicles in our garage because it's charged back, to the grid, smart appliances in our homes, and energy storage, and so on and so forth. So that is the very first application. But then using that same platform, because once you connect all those things, you have this networking platform, right? What people then do is to use the exact same connecting platform for smart cities applications. So they just add more devices on top of the same networking platform. So for instance, smart traffic lights, to ease congestions. Of course, in the US or in developed countries will be smart parking meters, so that, when car park, depending on time of day, they may have to pay different price, at the meters. And then adding more and more city infrastructure devices on the connectivity, such as smart buildings that can turn things on and off depending on, pre-programmed applications, or like whether there is human inside it or not. Smart surveillance camera for better security, environmental sensors, and so on and so forth. So I would say the first, like the real kind of like big deployment applications right now going on is really in the energy and cities sector. However, on the more, I would say, consumer side, I think it's emerging. I mean, it's not as mainstream yet because, let's be honest, not everyone has a smartwatch, not everyone has a smart car. But I think for those who do and have the connectivity, I think it has started to change the paradigms of how businesses work. So I can give you an example. So for instance, traditionally in the US, insurance, let's say our life insurance or health insurance is based on our age, our gender, so whether you're a woman or a man, men usually, they think like men are more risky and are more likely
because of their lifestyle.
Because of their lifestyle and all that. So, male, female, and then age, like the regular traditional metrics. But with the emergence of these connected devices, insurance companies can then rethink the paradigm of like charging the premium and all that based on really the lifestyle of that person, because the device can track how many steps a day do you kind of walk.
What food you consume.
Yes, what food do you consume, how many calories do you burn, what is your heart rate. So that like the not just insurance companies, but also like medical companies and all that, everything will be more personalized. So if before, like Florence is just a female age, 30 to 35, right now they really know, oh no, Florence is actually someone with this kind of lifestyle who eats this kind of food, with this kind of heart rate. So everything that is like will be offered to you by these service providers, be it insurance, be it your doctor, be it the healthcare providers, will be much more personalized to Florence.
So they'll be able to, as you said, they'll be able to gain or to collect more detailed information in order for them to make, either for the government to make policies of the person or companies to make
better services, offer better services.
Decision. Now, all this is great when you've come from a well-developed economy. And what do you think? But somehow, of course, when you come to an emerging economy such as Indonesia and its neighboring countries, it would have a different application. What, in your opinion, what would be the applications that are suitable for Indonesia to adopt at the moment with the Internet of Things?
Yeah, I actually think Indonesia and a lot of the emerging economies have a great opportunity here, because in parts of Indonesia and even in China or India, there's still many parts that are not developed. So the infrastructure is not there yet.
Right.
As opposed to, let's say, in the U.S., infrastructure has been there for 100 years, so they have to modernize it. But in the case of Indonesia, instead of like going through the traditional way, why not just leapfrog and take the kind of like the latest and greatest technology while they're building the infrastructure, because they have that opportunity to like not have to do it the way the US did it 100 years ago, but let's do it the way it's supposed to be today. So use wireless technology, use like high bandwidth connectivity. Like you don't have to do it
learning from
way.
what has been done by countries such as US.
And take the best practices and lessons learned, and of course apply it in the local context. So I would say that's one thing. And then the other thing is, I know Jakarta is like really, the traffic jam is just crazy. So either you build more roads, which I don't know whether that is possible or not,
or if that's the best solution.
Exactly. But like think of like innovative solutions like the Gojek. And I'm sorry I keep going back there even though I've never used the service, but I just thought it's very brilliant, because a Gojek would not work in like Japan or in North America, but it works beautifully in Jakarta because it provides convenience.
Because of the nature, how the transportation has evolved in Jakarta itself.
Exactly.
How motorcycle, how it becomes so much in demand for the way traffic has grown in the city.
Exactly. And then the other application I can think of is maybe smart agriculture. So this is very emerging. So again, I don't know how our farmers here kind of like pesticide their crops, or like learn which crop is good, which is not good. But there are smart sensors out there, and it's pretty cheap that right now they start putting out in agriculture to really help farmers to be more efficient in terms of their pesticization, and also in terms of like bringing like a more higher quality crop.
And simply by the end of the day, increasing their production, but of better quality.
Of a higher quality. Yep, exactly.
All right, Internet of Things is still very interesting to talk about. It seems that there's never enough time to talk about IoT, but we'll be right back and more of Internet of Things with Sonita Lontoh.